Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hosts Japanese counterpart General Nakatani in New Delhi. Both sides exchange views and ideas on current regional and international security situation. US President Donald Trump orders 100% tariff on non-US films, calls Hollywood crisis a national security threat. Israel approves gradual expansion of Gaza offensive amid mounting pressure to secure hostage release, set to mobilize thousands of reservists. And in sports, Norway's Casper Ruud beats Jack Draper in Madrid Open final to win his first Masters 1000 title. Our top story, India's Defence Secretary met Prime Minister Narendra Modi earlier today. As per sources, separate meetings were also held between Prime Minister Modi and Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh and Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi at his residence over the weekend. This follows a high-level meeting chaired by Prime Minister Modi earlier last week, which was attended by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan and 3 service chiefs. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval was also present at the meeting. Meanwhile, India has announced a series of measures, including putting the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance to send a strong message to Pakistan for its support to cross-border terrorism. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today held bilateral meeting with Japanese counterpart General Nakatani in New Delhi. Both sides exchanged views and ideas on the current regional and international security situation and discussed ways to further deepen the bilateral defence cooperation. The two sides condemned terrorism in all forms and emphasized the need for enhanced collaboration and joint efforts to counter cross-border threats. General Nakatani expressed solidarity with India in the wake of Pahalgam attack and offered full support to India. Further, Rajnath Singh noted that India shares a special strategic and global partnership with Japan.
Excellency, I take this opportunity to compliment you for your immense contribution in deepening of the Indo-Japan defense relations. You had earlier laid foundations for a strong bilateral defense partnership by concluding defense equipment and technical cooperation agreement and the protection of classified military information agreement.
Earlier, visiting Japanese dignitary laid wreath at the war memorial. He was also accorded a Guard of Honor. India and Japan share a long-term friendship which has further gained qualitative momentum after the elevation of this collaboration to special strategic and global partnership in 2014. Defence and security are important pillars of the ties between the two countries. This will be the second meeting between the two defence ministers within 6 months. Another incident of ceasefire violation was reported on the intervening night of 4th and 5th May. Pakistan Army posts resorted to unprovoked small arms fire across the line of control in areas opposite Kupwara, Baramulla, Poonch, Rajouri, Mendhar, Naushera, Sundarbani and Akhnur in J&K. Indian Army responded promptly and proportionately. Meanwhile, security forces on Sunday evening busted a terrorist hideout in Hari village of Sudan in Poonch district, recovering several improvised explosive devices and other incriminating material. The operation was jointly conducted by Indian Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police in Hari area of Sudan subdivision of Union Territories, Poonch district. Ahead of the operation, a cordon and search operation was launched by forces in Hari village, during which a hideout established in natural caves was busted. They said that 4 to 5 IEDs with different weights, some explosive content in powder form, communication devices, clothes and some other material has been recovered from the hideout. The recovered explosive material was also destroyed at the site by forces, said officials, adding that anti-terror operation is still going on in the area. A solemn memorial took place at the Indian consulate in Toronto as members of the community gathered to remember the victims of a recent tragedy overseas. 26 innocent tourists lost their lives in a terrorist attack in Pahalgam, India last month. The Indian diaspora and Friends of India came together in Toronto to honour their memory and pray for peace. Tarun Paul has more.
In a quiet hall at the Council Journal of India on Blue Street East, dozens of people stand with heads bowed. Their candles flicker in unison, each flame a tribute to a life lost thousands of kilometers away. The mood is heavy with grief and solidarity. It's been 10 days since a terror attack in the tourist town of Pahalgam claimed 26 innocent lives. And here in Toronto, the shock and sorrows are palpable.
Bharat Mata ki Jai! Joor se bolo, Bharat Mata ki Jai!
These victims, whose only crime was their pursuit for happiness, peace, and a better future, were senselessly and ruthlessly murdered. This heinous act was orchestrated by those who have long traded in blood and terror.
On behalf of all Canadians, we condemn this attack. This is a very cowardly terrorist attack. Innocent lives are lost. We are standing with all our Indian brothers, all our Indian families. We condemn this attack, and this is the worst cowardly act somebody can perform. We urge Indian and Canadian governments to work together to find these culprits and bring them to justice.
Community members and consulate officials observe a moment of silence. Some wipe away tears, others whisper prayers for the victims and their families. Friends from around the world gathered, standing shoulder to shoulder in support.
The tragedy which has been happened, it's the biggest tragedy, I would say one of the biggest tragedy for the mankind. They shouldn't be done to any caste, creed or anyone. We condemn this, and in future also we pray to God that this doesn't happen on the land of India, and the land of Kashmir.
See, humanity is the biggest religion in the world, and when it comes to humanity, there are no boundaries, no borders. At the same time, as a diaspora, we feel very strong about the departed souls and their family. At the same time, we condemn them. Also, our appeal to not only to the government India, to the entire global world, that we should not take this type of terror attacks or this terrorist at ease.
The families are left behind. We stand with all of you. We pray for the peace of the souls gone, family to get strength, be more strengthened, and our country more stronger than before to come back. It's not something we dream of. Now they wanted. Families came for vacation. We'll see down the roads how our country stands to turn other people to understand. We are a loving country, a peaceful country, but we know how to revert.
This remembrance in Toronto is one of many around the world honoring the Pahalgam victims. The Indian diaspora here says that no matter the distance, their hearts are with the families affected. They vow to keep the memories, the 26 lives alive and continue praying for peace. Reporting from Toronto, this is Tarun Paul Singh.
Updates now on Israel-Hamas conflict. The Israeli Security Cabinet, led by country's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has approved a gradual expansion of the military offensive against Hamas in Gaza. This development comes amid heightened tensions and a significant military build-up, with tens of thousands of reservists being called up to intensify the operation. The Israeli army aims to destroy Hamas infrastructure both above and below ground, while increasing pressure to secure the return of hostages. Meanwhile, a new plan for aid distribution in Gaza has also been approved, although the timing of aid delivery remains unclear. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed a response to Yemen's Houthis and their Iranian backers after the group struck the area of Israel's main airport, injuring 8 people. Several international airlines suspended flights to Israel, and hours after the strike, Yemen's Houthis, who claimed responsibility for the attack, promised more such strikes and warned airlines to cancel their flights to Israeli airports.
As far as the trade routes, obviously we're being challenged. The whole world is being challenged by the Houthis, including in the dastardly attack they did today near Ben Gurion Airport. We will not tolerate it. We will take very strong action against them. And we always remember that they act with their patron Iran's direction and support. We will do what we need to do to take care of our security, to respond effectively, and to give Iran a due warning that this cannot continue.
Iran has meanwhile warned that it will strike back if US or Israel attacked. Iran's Defense Minister Aziz Nasirzadeh said on Sunday that Iran would strike back if the United States or Israel attacked. Nasirzadeh's comments came after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to retaliate against Iran for Houthi group firing a missile that landed near Israel's main airport. In echoing Iran's official stance, Nasirzadeh said Houthis act upon their own motivations. The Iranian defense minister also said that Iran has no hostility towards neighboring countries, but in case of an attack, the US bases located in the region will be considered targets by Tehran. In another update, Iran has unveiled a new solid-fuel ballistic missile, terming it Iran's latest defense achievement. Iran state television reports the solid-propellant Qasim Basir ballistic missile has a range of at least 1,200 kilometers. The new missile was shown after Tehran and Washington held Oman-mediated talks on Iran's nuclear program on 3 consecutive Saturdays from April 12th. Iran has ruled out discussions with Washington on its military and defense capabilities, including its ballistic missile program. On the possibility of a truce, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday said that a ceasefire with Russia was possible at any moment. Zelensky also called on his allies to apply greater pressure on Moscow, else Russian President Putin would not take any real steps to end the conflict. He added that the ceasefire should last at least 30 days to give diplomacy a real chance.
We believe that ceasefire is possible at any moment, even starting today, and should last for at least 30 days to give diplomacy a real chance.
Earlier, Vladimir Putin announced a 3-day ceasefire over May 8 and 10 during commemorations for the anniversary of the end of World War II in Europe, saying it would test Kiev's readiness for a long-term ceasefire. Speaking to reporters, US President Donald Trump said on Sunday he and his advisors have had some good discussions about Russia and Ukraine in recent days without elaborating.
Had some good conversations on Russia and Ukraine over the weekend, over the last few days actually, but we've had some very good conversations on Russia and Ukraine. There's a lot of hatred there, I will tell you, between the two parties and between even the generals. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of hatred, but we've had some very good discussions over the last few days.
Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. George Simion, clear winner in the first round of Romania's presidential election rerun as per the partial results. US President Donald Trump confirms that he had offered to send US troops to Mexico to assist in combating drug trafficking. And Australia's Anthony Albanese says he had warm talks with Trump on tariffs.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Eurosceptic George Simeon emerged victorious in the first round of Romania's presidential election rerun on Sunday. As per the partial results, the election viewed as a measure of the growing influence of Trump-style nationalism within the European Union saw Simeon leading with around 40% of the vote. Bucharest Mayor Nicholas Dan came in second with approximately 21%. Simeon described his victory as a triumph for Romanian dignity, symbolizing hope and belief.
I bow to the Romanians outside the country's border who turned out to vote in large numbers and traveled hundreds of kilometers to show that they are proud because they are Romanians. I will remain devoted to them in everything I do because it is not my victory but the victory of the Romanian people. I will keep my word because Romania needs his wisdom and vision and because I do not want power for myself.
If final results, including votes from the diaspora, confirm this trend, the two will face off in a runoff on May 18. Benefiting from a wave of popular anger against mainstream leaders, Simeon opposes military aid to neighboring Ukraine, criticizes EU leadership and says he is aligned with the US president's Make America Great Again movement. Moving on, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said on Monday he had a warm conversation with US President Donald Trump on tariffs and the AUKUS defence pact after his centre-left Labour Party decisively beat the Conservatives in a weekend election. Albanese said during a media briefing that they talked about how AUKUS and tariffs will continue to engage. The two leaders will engage with each other on a face-to-face basis at some time in the future. Albanese also thanked Trump for reaching out in such a positive way. Albanese was returned to office for a second term in a stunning comeback against the Conservative Liberal National Coalition, which was ahead in polls as recently as February. Whereas earlier on Sunday, US President Donald Trump praised Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and called him friendly.
Member for Dixon.
US President Donald Trump shared on Sunday that the US is engaged in ongoing trade discussions with multiple countries, including China. While the president emphasized that securing a fair trade deal with China remains a top priority, he confirmed that he would not be speaking with Chinese President Xi Jinping this week. Instead, US officials are in active talks with their Chinese counterparts on various trade matters. When asked if any new trade agreements would be announced during the week, Trump left the door open, stating that it very well could be, however, refrained from providing specifics. The comments come amid heightened tensions over trade imbalances and tariffs between the two global economic powers.
China and our people are talking about different things. Every country, almost without fail, friend and foe, has been ripping us off for years. So we're meeting with almost all of them, including China. And at the end, I'm setting the deal.
Let's take a look at US-China tariff war. The US-China tariff conflict intensified beginning in February 2025, with President Trump imposing 10% tariffs on Chinese imports and 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada. China retaliated, particularly targeting US coal, LNG and oil. Trump escalated the situation by adding 25% tariffs on steel and aluminium and further increasing tariffs on Chinese and other foreign goods in March. China responded with tariffs on US agricultural products and a 45% surcharge on US steel. In April, Trump raised tariffs even further, imposing up to 84% on Chinese goods and threatening 50% tariffs, while China retaliated with its own sharp tariff hikes. By mid-April, the US had raised tariffs on Chinese imports to at least 145%. In May, the US eliminated the de minimis exemption on low-value Chinese goods, imposing hefty duties. Despite the escalating tensions, Trump called for a fair trade deal, noting that negotiations with China were ongoing. US President Donald Trump has announced a 100% tariff on foreign-made films, aiming to revive America's dwindling film industry. Trump claims foreign productions are a national security threat and divert American filmmakers abroad with lucrative incentives. DD India's Antara Sinha has more.
In a move that's sending shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond, US President Donald Trump announced Sunday that he is ordering sweeping new tariffs on all films produced outside of the United States. Taking to his Truth Social platform, Trump declared a 100% tariff on foreign-made movies, citing what he called a devastating trend of American studios filming abroad. The movie industry in America is dying a very fast death, he wrote, adding, other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away. Trump characterized the situation as a threat not only to American culture but to national security itself. He directed the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin implementing the measure. This comes just weeks after China announced it would cut back on the number of American films allowed into its domestic market. Protests have erupted in Los Angeles and Cannes alike, with critics calling the tariffs a blow to artistic collaboration and global cinema. As the world watches, the future of international cinema and America's role in it hangs in the balance. With little detail yet available and no clear implementation timeline, the film industry finds itself in a dramatic cliffhanger worthy of the big screen itself. Antara Sinha for DD India.
And it was once America's most feared prison, and it now could return to that role. President Donald Trump has unveiled a plan to rebuild and reopen Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary.
Rising from the waters of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz Island was one of a dreaded prison surrounded by water on all sides. It is known today as a place of history turned a tourist destination. Now the island is all set to return to mean role as US President Donald Trump has directed officials to rebuild and open. US President Trump declared his intention to transform the site into a high-security facility for housing the most ruthless and violent offenders in the country. Trump added that the expanded Alcatraz would serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. Located 2 kilometers off the coast of San Francisco and with a capacity of just 336 prisoners, it was once home to notorious criminals like Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. Alcatraz closed in 1963. It has been a national park for decades until now. According to the Bureau of Prisons, Alcatraz was closed because it was too expensive to operate. When the prison closed in 1963, it was estimated that upwards of $5 million was needed to restore and maintain the prison. Over 1 million visitors come here each year. The announcement comes at a time when Trump has been in a public clash with the courts as his government sent alleged Venezuelan gang members to a prison in El Salvador. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, US President Donald Trump confirmed on Sunday that he had offered to send US troops to Mexico to assist in combating drug trafficking. The offer was revealed by Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. who stated that she had declined the proposal. Trump explained that the offer stemmed from the severe impact of drug cartels, which have been responsible for thousands of deaths. Speaking aboard Air Force One, he emphasized that the U.S. would have been honored to help if Mexico had requested assistance in tackling the cartels. While Sheinbaum rejected the idea, citing Mexico's sovereignty, the offer reflects growing concerns over the rising influence of cartels in both countries. As violence related to drug trafficking continues to escalate, discussions on international cooperation remain a contentious issue. Moving further, at least 10 people have died and 70 were hospitalized after strong winds caused boats carrying tourists to capsize at a scenic spot in southwestern China. The passenger boats overturned Sunday afternoon on a river in Qianji City, Guizhou province, sending 84 people into waters. As of Monday afternoon, 10 were dead, 70 have been hospitalized and 4 were unharmed. Chinese President Xi Jinping urged all-out efforts in the search and rescue operations and treatment of those injured. Sunday's incident comes just over 2 months after 11 people were killed in a boat collision in central China. Now, Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces launched a drone attack on a military airbase and surrounding facilities near Port Sudan airport on Sunday, marking the first RSF strike on the eastern port city. According to a Sudanese army spokesperson, no casualties were reported from the attack. The RSF has primarily targeted power stations in army-controlled areas across central and northern Sudan over the past several months, though these strikes have had minimal casualties. The Port Sudan attack signifies a shift in the ongoing 2-year conflict between the Sudanese army and the RSF, as the eastern region had previously been spared from such assaults. In response, the Sudanese army has strengthened its presence around key facilities in Port Sudan, including the airport and seaport, and closed roads to the presidential palace. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Cambodian opposite politician Rong Shun has been sentenced to 4 years in jail. The conviction also carries a ban on voting and holding public office. Shun stated that the court found him guilty of incitement to cause serious social unrest. Young representatives from Malian opposition parties convened in Bamako expressing fears of their potential dissolution by the ruling junta. The meeting saw calls for democratic respect amid a crackdown on dissent and diminishing civic space. This follows the military's recent repeal of a charter governing political parties, a move legal experts suggest could lead to their complete abolishment. Hundreds of people gathered in the Togolese capital Lome to protest recent changes to the constitution. The demonstration occurred a day after President Faure, who has been in power for a long period, was sworn in to a new term without term limits. Opposition parties and civil society groups have voiced strong criticism against what they perceive as a shift towards authoritarian rule and the suppression of the democratic options in the West African nation. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour, we have a detailed discussion on Waves 2025 summit with an eminent guest. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in Milan to attend the 58th annual meeting of the Board of Governors of Asian Development Bank.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium, we'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
For top stories. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hosts Japanese counterpart General Nakatani in New Delhi. Both sides exchange views and ideas on current regional and international security situation. Donald Trump orders 100% tariff on non-US films, calls Hollywood crisis a national security threat. Israel approves gradual expansion of Gaza offensive amid mounting pressure to secure hostage release, set to mobilize thousands of reservists. Now, Waves 2025 concluded on Sunday with a resounding celebration of India's creative prowess and its burgeoning role as a global hub for media and entertainment. Details of the final day in this report.
On the final day on Sunday, Waves, the landmark event organized by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, in partnership with the Government of Maharashtra, brought together over 10,000 delegates, 1,000 creators, 300 companies, and 350 startups from more than 90 countries. At Creatosphere, the participants showcased their work and also impressed the public, who were given the access on day 3 and 4 of the summit.
I think it's a good opportunity, and I think there should be another season, and for next season I would basically, I don't know what to recommend at the moment because I'm still analyzing, but I think the flow should just go on. I think there should be more people getting involved in this.
I think representing India and Indian comics on a global platform like Waves is I think I feel very fortunate, first of all. Excitement, obviously, and I also feel that it is such a beautiful and brave and bold move that the government of India has taken to honor and showcase all the different types of creative people that India has.
This is one of the best things that has happened to comics in recent years, because comics is a reading thing, and reading is a dying art in India. People are not reading anyways. So I really appreciate the government of India's initiative to include comics.
It was a hackathon conducted by the Ministry of Information and Ministry of Electronics. So yes, it definitely feels amazing when we are working for the government on a problem statement that can make an impact.
The day saw several high-energy plenary sessions and master classes featuring industry titans on topics including changing dynamics of AVGC XR sector in AI era, best practices for social media advertising for influencers, a workshop on digital sculpting and filmmaking using mobile camera. Award ceremony for various CIC were also recognizing the work and talents of the winners. The day also witnessed high voltage performance of 3 winners of the Resonate the EDM Challenge, who captivated the audience with their work. As the curtains fell on May 4, 2025, Waves left an indelible mark not only on the delegates who attended, but also on the global perception of India's creative potential. The summit's legacy will undoubtedly inspire continued innovation, collaboration, and storytelling, ensuring that India's voice resonates in every home and heart worldwide. Shama Mishra's report for DD India.
All right, DD India, Shama Mishra, who covered Wave Summit 2025, joins us live from Mumbai. Good afternoon, Shama. You covered Waves in Mumbai from 1st to 4th May. Tell us, first of all, how was the overall response?
Well, Abhishek, we spoke yesterday also, and I remember saying that yesterday was with a heavy heart. We had to say that it was the last day, and today it's a void for us because we were all in that kind of celebration of the media and entertainment industry, in media and entertainment sector, and everything which was related to the current sector. Yes, we did see a host of events happening at the Wave Summit, and also it was important from the point of view for Maharashtra government as well, because Maharashtra government alone has signed MOUs worth 8,000 crores, and we've also seen more than 3,000 B2B meetings which were held during the course of 4 days. We also saw transactions, business transactions worth 1,300, more than 1,300 had taken place during these 4 days, and there were also important MOUs signed between Maharashtra government with the University of Australia and also with Prime Focus. We also saw some B2B and MOUs signing between various other companies which were going to be helpful in future filmmaking as well as future technology. So overall, everything which was related to the innovation, technology and ever-evolving innovation was present over here, was available over there. And from now on, it will be a movement. Also, there'll be so many, there'll be so many guidelines for future policies, and policy makers can take this particular summit or the reports that had come out from that as a guidebook. We also saw MOS, Dr. L. Murugan. He released 5 key reports and the comprehensive analysis of the media and entertainment sector and how India has to be, on the global map. India has to be the leader of the globe. All these points were talked about in these 5 reports that were released on day 3. We did see the global media dialogue, which was an important highlight of the entire summit, and we are told that more than 77 countries participated in that. And on the day of the global media dialogue, it was so vast, it was so massive. It was more like, the entire world had culminated there. It was truly a melting pot over there, and we did see a lot of other events, including the master classes, the performances of various artists throughout these 4 days that took place. Last day was also exciting because you've also mentioned in the report that was aired just now that the EDM artists, the EDM winners also, they electrified the audience with their performance, and they captivated them with their performance, and that was the last, we could say, the closing of this particular summit. We did see a lot of award ceremonies also recognizing these kids, and on the last day, the filmmaker Subhash Ghai also had come, and he also lauded the entire initiative, entire efforts of the government of India and also the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting.
Shama, you said it all. I mean, you spoke about the B2B collaborations, MOUs were also signed. Global media dialogue too was the highlight of the event. Also tell us about the standout initiatives in the summit, like Waves Bazaar and also Create in India challenges. If you could talk more about that.
The amount of the transaction, of the business that I had mentioned in the B2B meeting, that was the highlight of the Waves Bazaar. And we did see Waves Bazaar before the summit had began. It had already attracted a lot of crowd, not just the amateur ones, but also the professional ones. They came with their projects. They came with, a hope that their projects would be funded. Many of the filmmakers or budding filmmakers came with their raw projects and raw ideas, and they tried pitching their projects. They made them made the producers or the people who would be financing them. They gave a presentation to those people, and many of them got the recommendation as well as the funding as well. So you can understand, this was the proper place. This was the launch pad for these amateurs, for these budding artists, budding filmmakers who have the idea. If you remember that on day 1 of the inaugural, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had mentioned that India is a population of 1 billion, and with 1 billion population, we have stories of 1 billion. So while talking to the comics creatorship champions, we did understand that there were so many unique stories coming out from the northeast, coming out from the rural parts of the country, rural parts of the state. These all stories will now go to a national level as well as global
Shama,
level,
a super
which will be
hit,
a major
4-day
highlight for
event.
us.
And yes, and it's not the end, it's in fact the beginning. Thank you so much for your input, Shama. We'll leave it at that, and we'll talk more on the Wave Summit. We are also joined by Axar SA, founder, partner, Imagination Street. Welcome, Akshat. Welcome to DD India. Appreciate giving us your precious time. Waves 2025 has concluded, but it has in fact left a big mark, indelible mark. This global summit was not just another event. You think it was a bold declaration of India's creative rise on the world stage?
No, you're absolutely right. First of all, the waves having ended yesterday, as Shama rightly said, there's this void. And, having met so many people, and I think beyond the numbers, which Shama has just shared about, and there are reports and declarations from that. I think the person-to-person interaction, and I'm specifically talking about creators interacting with each other, and I think there are going to be many spin-offs, and in the years to come, in the months to come from now, there'll be a lot of work that will spin off from relationships that have been forged during these short 4 days. Which were very extensive, very intensive, and as a part of a co-organizer to Create in India challenge for the film poster making competition, I must tell you that we had people coming from all walks of life, from all parts of the country, who sent in their submissions for digital, and then subsequently we had a separate hand painting one, which was through institutions. And we realized that people studying, people coming from different states and cities, they were studying in different institutes which were placed in different states and cities. So they had so many different stories to tell, so many different experiences to share, and they used the medium of art to put it across to people. We should also remember that creators are themselves big consumers. So while we have a 1 billion population in India, I think even if a 10% creator optimum is there, that 10% is a major consumer of these products, these creative products, be it for filmmaking, and we've seen animation, music, filmmaking in terms of direction, production, financing, all the promoters, creators, and consumers coming together at the same point and at the same place. There were so many things happening, so many workshops, masterclasses, and from people, as diverse as Amir Khan, Farhan Akhtar, and Rishi Mehta, and people from the animation, people from clay animation, from comics. Anupam Sinha was there, and I saw so many different people, and Subhash Ghai also graced and spoke to all the associations who have been instrumental in taking this lead forward from the ministry and from the government. And all these are testimonials of what the future holds for us.
Akshat, also, there were so many standout initiatives under this summit. Like we mentioned earlier, also Create in India challenges, Waves Bazaar, several panel discussions were also held, plenary sessions and B2B collaborations. Like you also said, many big names from Indian cinema also graced the event. And I think it was a great opportunity for young creators to learn from the best in the fraternity.
Absolutely. In our competition, we had 13 people, 10 for the hand paint and 3 as winners for the digital one. And the age groups were so diverse. So there's a girl who's from Kochi, and she's just passed out her 12th, and she's doing a course from FTI Pune for animation. And she got the opportunity to interact with people who are stalwarts in the animation industry and VFX industry. And although these are nascent industries, be it the AI and AR, but getting the opportunity, and let's also remember the stalls that were put up by Meta, YouTube, and the other TCS, Tatas, and all the others as part of the Bharat Pavilion. People got exposure to technologies and equipment that they can already start to include into their practice. I think this opens up a lot of minds, and stories need to be told, and I think we will all become passages and carriers for these stories to take it forward to not just to the Indians, but to on a world map, and globally. I think Waves is going to have an impact, a very positive impact. It's not just about the economy, although that is a big thing, and that is what keeps and boosts the entire fraternity. And the fraternity is large, and everybody coming together to see that who else can we collaborate with, and collaborations with the international ones and the Indian ones. I think there's so much to look forward to.
So much to look forward to, and certainly will have a big impact. But the Global Media Dialogue was a landmark event with participation from 77 nations, underscoring India's pivotal role in the global media. And the member nations collectively adopted the Waves Declaration. Tell us, how big is that? Do you think that was the highlight of the 4-day event?
Yes, I can tell you that in Delhi we had a session with Jaishankar ji and Fadnavis ji and Sanjay Jaju ji and Ashwini Vaishnav ji, and there were about 80 different countries there. I think, if I remember the number correctly, and the diplomats were there. And this initiative at that point led to the fact that more than 77 countries had representations in one form or the other, not just in diplomacy, but in actual creative control. We had creators, be it from the film and the cinema industry, but from art as well, music as well. And they all came forward and they have embraced the entire exercise, that is to create an ecosystem which is not dependent on borders, and rather it is not restricted by borders. For them to come forward and sign unanimously the declaration, I think it spells out exactly what was the initiative of the entire exercise, and I think it bodes well for the future. I had personal interactions with people from Venezuela, from Russia, from Israel, from different parts of, different nations, including our nearby Nepal, and we also had sports, and that's an interesting thing because sports has become such a big thing in entertainment and media, and we are lucky to have 2 gold winners as Indians. I think everything brought a lot of positivity. I think that's something that the entire world needs right now, moving in the right direction, and I think creative storytelling and collaborations can build these soft diplomacy and create ambassadors which bridge gaps that exist, allow us to cross over to, and Indian cinema anyways through Raj Kapoor and others from the very olden days have ambassaded Indian cause, culture, creativity to the world.
Yes, Akshat, a lot of positivity, and also Waves concludes with the positive, in fact, the promise of a bright future for the creative economy. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Akshat. Thanks for your insights.
Thank you so much.
Moving on, India's Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is in Milan, Italy. Finance Minister Sitharaman is leading the Indian delegation of officials from the Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, to attend the 58th annual meeting of the Board of Governors of Asian Development Bank. The meetings will be attended by official delegations of the Board of Governors of ADB, official delegations of ADB members and international financial institutions. Union Finance Minister will participate in the annual meeting's focal events like the Governor's Business Session, Governor's Plenary Session, and as a panelist in the ADB Governor's Seminar on Cross-Border Collaboration for Future Resilience. Let's now take a look at other stories making news. Indian naval ship INS Sharda has reached Mafalafushi Atoll, Maldives for its first ever humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercise from May 4 to 10th, 2025. The initiative strengthens India-Maldives defence ties and promotes disaster readiness. The exercise includes rescue operations, medical aid, joint drills and training, ensuring swift response in emergencies. In a well-coordinated crackdown, Border Security Force of India intercepted multiple smuggling efforts along the border of northern state of Punjab. The team recovered pistol parts and magazines, 550 grams of heroin and a high-tech DJI Air 3S drone in different regions of the state. The interceptions highlights the vigilance of BSF in keeping India's border secure from illegal activities. Several parts of India's western state, Rajasthan, experienced heavy rainfall and hailstorms, bringing much-needed relief from the scorching heat. The hill station of Mount Abu was also engulfed in fog. The India Met Department has issued a warning for heavy rain and strong winds across several districts of Rajasthan and neighbouring Gujarat over the next 2 days. As temperatures soar in the Indian state of Chhattisgarh, Maitri Bagh Zoo in Bhilai has taken extra measures to keep its animals cool. Lions and tigers have coolers and sprinklers. Elephants receive daily cold baths and monkeys enjoy seasonal fruits. Zoo officials ensure proper hydration and shaded spaces for birds and other creatures. Home to India's largest population of white lions, the zoo remains a key attraction while prioritizing the well-being of its 400 animals. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Struggling Delhi Capitals hopes to revive their playoff hopes as they face Sunrisers Hyderabad in the Indian Premier League today. Kylian Mbappe leads Real Madrid to 3-2 win against Celta Vigo in La Liga.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Sports updates now. The competitions at the Khelo India Youth Games 2025 have begun with the grand opening on Sunday. Today, players will be seen on the field in volleyball, kho-kho, kabaddi, malakham, archery and football. Whereas in judo, swimming and shooting, players will be seen competing for medals. It is noteworthy that a team of about 10,000 players and support staff from across the country have reached Bihar to participate in the 7th edition of Khelo India Youth Games. IPL now. Delhi Capitals will aim to revive their playoff hopes and arrest a 2-match losing streak at home when they face a struggling Sunrisers Hyderabad in a must-win IPL 2025 clash on Monday. Axar Patel's side, currently 5th at 12 points from 10 games, have relied heavily on away wins but will need to find form in familiar conditions to stay in the top 4 race. Axar Patel's fitness remains a concern after he bruised his left hand in the previous game against Kolkata Knight Riders, while KL Rahul and Abhishek Porel have led Delhi's batting. Their inability to accelerate at crucial moments has been costly. Meanwhile, Sunrisers Hyderabad, despite having big names like Pat Cummins, Mohammad Shami, Travis Head and Henrik Larsson, they have failed to click. With both teams desperate for points, the match promises high stakes and intensity at the Arun Jaitley Stadium. Tennis now. Norway's Casper Ruud won his first Masters 1000 title on Sunday as he secured victory over 5th seed Jack Draper in the Madrid Open final. Ruud displayed gutsy performance as he stormed to a 7-5, 3-6, 6-4 victory over Jack Draper that really showcased his clay court mettle. The 26-year-old overcame a rib injury sustained in the semi-finals to secure the trophy after previously dispatching Taylor Fritz, Daniil Medvedev and Francisco Cerundolo. Ruud had previously reached 3 Grand Slam finals, including 2 at Roland Garros, Masters 1000 finals in Miami in 2022 and Monte Carlo last year. Football now. Kylian Mbappe scored 2 goals as Real Madrid fought off a late comeback attempt from Celta Vigo to secure a 3-2 victory. Real Madrid stay within 4 points of La Liga leaders Barcelona, whom they visit in next weekend's El Clasico. Arda Güler broke the deadlock for Real shortly after the half-hour. Mbappe doubled Real's lead 6 minutes later. Then Güler set up Mbappe's second goal 3 minutes after the break. Celta Vigo made a late charge as Xavi Rodriguez and William Swedberg scored for the visitors, but Real were able to see off the late pressure to ensure the victory. And Chelsea moved a step closer to Champions League qualification on Sunday by beating under-strength champion Liverpool 3-1 in their Premier League match. A first-half strike from Enzo Fernandez' own goal by Jarrell Quansah and a Cole Palmer penalty ensured Chelsea a commanding win. Enzo Maresca's Chelsea is 5th in the Premier League on 63 points, separated from 4th place Newcastle only by goals scored. Both teams trail 3rd place Manchester City by a point with 3 games remaining. On to golf now. American golfer Bryson DeChambeau ended a run of near misses by cruising to his first live golf win of the season in South Korea. It was his first victory since winning the US Open last summer. The 31-year-old made 6 birdies on the back 9 on Sunday to finish with a 6 under 66 for a 19 under total. DeChambeau had endured 3 tough finishes over the past month, falling out of contention on the final day of the live events in Miami and Mexico City as well as the Masters. The 2-time major winner finished with 5th in Miami in a tie for 2nd in Mexico, and then tied for 5th as Rory McIlroy triumphed at Augusta. And Oscar Piastri won the Miami Grand Prix in an utterly dominant McLaren 1-2 on Sunday to complete a hat-trick of wins. His victory also stretched his Formula One championship lead over teammate Lando Norris to 16 points after 6 rounds. The win from 4th on the grid was Piastri's 3rd in a row after Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. McLaren has so far been beaten only once. George Russell finished 3rd for Mercedes, but he was a mighty 37.644 seconds behind. Red Bull's world champion Max Verstappen was 4th, overtaken by both McLarens and maintaining a sequence dating back to the race's debut in 2022 of the drivers starting on pole position in Miami, failing to win. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.